My mother never hit me. She never screamed. If you met her, you'd probably love her. But I spent every good thing that ever happened to me trying to make it small enough for her to handle. This is the story of what that does to a kid.
You are 6 years old, and your mother is curling your hair for a wedding you're both attending. She keeps saying how everyone is going to look at the two of you and think you're sisters. You don't know yet that she's not talking about you. She's talking about herself. You're 7, and you're playing dress-up in her closet, wearing one of her old dresses, spinning in the mirror. She walks in, and for a second her face lights up in a way you've never seen. Then, just as fast, it changes. "Careful with that," she says. "That dress looked much better on me." You don't understand yet what you did wrong. You just understand somehow that being pretty is something that belongs to her first. You're 8, and you come home from school upset because a boy was mean to you. Instead of comfort, she tells you about a boy who was mean to her at your age. And somehow, the conversation is fully hers within a minute. You sit there nodding along to her story, your own feelings quietly shelved, still unspoken. You're 9, and it's picture day at school. She picks out your outfit the night before without asking you. A dress you've never liked, the one she says photographs best. When the pictures come back, she frames the one where you're not quite smiling and hangs it in the hallway where guests will see it. You never tell her you hated that dress. You're not sure it would matter if you did. You're 10, and you start noticing something you don't have words for yet. When people are over, she calls you her whole world, laughing easily, hand always resting on your shoulder like a prop in a photo. The second the door closes behind the last guest, you can feel the room change temperature. You start wondering whether the version of you she tells other people about matters more than the one you actually are. You're 11, and you get your first real compliment from a teacher about your writing. You run home to tell her. She reads it, nods, then says, "You definitely got that from me. I used to write all the time before I had you." You stand there holding your own accomplishment, watching it quietly become about the life she says she gave up for you. You're 12, and your body starts changing, the way bodies do. She comments on it almost daily now. What you're eating, how your clothes fit, whether you're watching yourself. You start changing in the bathroom instead of your room, just to have 5 minutes where nobody's looking. You're 13, and you find her crying in the kitchen one night about something with your father. She pulls you in close, tells you things a mother probably shouldn't tell a 13-year-old. Needs you to comfort her the way a friend would, not the way a parent comforts a child. You hug her, say the right things, and go to bed feeling responsible for keeping her from falling apart. You're 14, and you get invited to your first homecoming dance. She insists on helping you get ready, but somewhere between the hair and the makeup, it stops being about you. She keeps adjusting things to how she would wear it, until you look in the mirror and barely recognize yourself. You go to the dance anyway, smiling in photos you don't feel like you're actually in.
And you finally push back about something small. The way she talks about your body at Thanksgiving dinner in front of your whole extended family. She goes cold instantly, doesn't speak to you for 2 days. On day 3, she acts like nothing happened, and you're the one who ends up apologizing just to make the silence stop. You're 17, and it's graduation season. She spends more time deciding what she's going to wear than asking how you feel about any of it. In every photo, she angles herself toward the camera like the day is happening to her. When relatives congratulate you, she answers before you can. "We worked so hard for this," she says. And somehow, even this milestone feels borrowed. You're 17 still, later that same spring, and a boy asks you to prom. When you tell her, she doesn't ask about him. She asks whether he noticed how young she looks for her age. You laugh it off, the way you've learned to laugh off most things by now. You're 18, and you get accepted into a college across the country, one you worked toward for years, AP classes, SAT prep, all of it. She cries when you tell her, but it isn't pride. "Who's going to help me with everything?" she says. "You're really going to just leave me here?" You spend the whole summer packing for your dorm with a guilt you can't quite explain, for a decision that should have felt like nothing but joy. You're 19, home for the first time since leaving. She's already rearranged your old bedroom into a home office. When you mention it stings a little. She tells you you're being dramatic, that you're never even here anymore anyway. You don't bring it up again. You're 21, and you're getting ready for a friend's wedding. You catch yourself halfway through doing your makeup, checking whether it looks too much like hers. You stop mid-motion and realize you've never once gotten ready for anything without measuring yourself against her first. You're 22, and you tell her about someone you've started dating. At first, she seems interested, asking questions, smiling in all the right places. Then she starts pointing out small flaws, one after another, until you leave the conversation less excited than when it started. You don't notice yet how often your happiness comes back from her sounding smaller than when you brought it in. You're 23, scrolling late one night after a phone call with her that left you inexplicably drained. You type, almost without meaning to. "Why does my mom get upset when I look happy without her?" An article loads, then another. For the first time, the pattern you've lived your whole life has a name. You're 24, and you get a promotion at work, the kind you've been quietly working toward for 2 years. You call her first, still a little breathless with excitement, before you've even told anyone else. There's a pause on the line, just half a second too long. Then, "That's nice. Must be easier now that you don't have to worry about anyone but yourself." You hang up a few minutes later, staring at your phone, trying to figure out how good news kept turning into something that needed defending. 25, and you buy yourself flowers for no reason at all, just because you wanted them. It's such a small thing. You almost don't tell her. For the first time, not telling her doesn't feel like hiding something. It feels peaceful. You're 26, and you let one of her calls go to voicemail because you're tired, and you need one quiet night to yourself. She texts 3 times within the hour. First worried, then wounded, then sharp. By the time you call her back, you're apologizing for needing a few hours you shouldn't have had to earn. But afterward, a small thought stays with you. Quiet but persistent. Maybe the problem was never the boundary. Maybe it was that you'd finally set one at all. You're 27 now. You still catch yourself sometimes, softening your excitement before you share good news, bracing for her to somehow make it about her. But you've started noticing the pattern in real time, which is new. You've started asking, quietly, what you actually want to wear, want to say, want to become. Not what would make her comfortable, not what would keep the peace. You spent your childhood believing you had to become smaller, so someone else could feel bigger. But you were never her competition. You were never responsible for her reflection. You were only ever meant to become yourself.